Imagine for a moment that every thought you've ever entertained, every word you've spoken, every emotion that has coursed through you has not simply vanished into nothingness, but has been received, heard, processed, and answered by the universe itself. Picture this not as a distant, fanciful notion, but as a reality unfolding around you right now, in ways so subtle you might not yet perceive them. The universe, in this view, is not a passive backdrop to your life, but an active participant, responding to you with every breath you take. Yet most people move through their days oblivious to this exchange. They overlook the patterns that emerge, dismiss the synchronicities that punctuate their experiences, and remain trapped in cycles they cannot decipher, convinced that life is a chaotic sequence of events, a roll of the dice they have no hand in casting. But what if nothing is truly random? What if every so-called coincidence, every repetition, every echo of the past holds a meaning waiting to be uncovered, if only you knew how to look? The universe is always listening, always replying, always reflecting back the energy you send forth. The question is not whether it hears you, but whether you are listening to it. In this video, we will examine 5 practical, tangible ways to engage with this force and receive its response, methods that, once understood, will alter how you perceive your existence forever. Consider how most people live. They assume their inner world is a private sanctuary, thoughts locked away, emotions fleeting, words nothing more than sounds swallowed by the wind. But what if this assumption is flawed? What if every thought you hold, every feeling you harbor, every sentence you utter is a signal, an emission that the universe receives and returns to you, shaped into the contours of your reality? This is not about a far-off deity weighing your pleas. The universe operates as a responsive field of energy, and replies to the frequency you project, whether you intend it or not. You are in constant conversation with this presence, molding your life with every passing second. The thoughts that dominate your mind, the emotions that color your days, the beliefs buried deep beneath your awareness, they form a transmission, broadcasting a vibration that draws in experiences, people, and situations matching its tone. This isn't mysticism, it's grounded in the nature of existence. Everything around you vibrates, the chair you sit on, the device in your hand, the currents of your consciousness, all resonating at distinct frequencies. Like a radio tuned to a specific station, you pull in what aligns with the signal you emit. This dynamic explains why life so often feels like a loop. The same kinds of relationships resurface, the same financial hurdles persist, the same emotional struggles recur, not by chance, but by design. People broadcast a consistent frequency, often without realizing it, and the universe, meticulous in its fidelity, mirrors it back. If your mind lingers on betrayal, you'll find evidence of it in your interactions. If anxiety about money consumes you, your circumstances will reflect scarcity. If you brace yourself for disappointment, it will arrive, not as a cosmic injustice, but as a consequence of energy's unwavering honesty. What you focus on amplifies. What you expect takes root. What you believe at your deepest level becomes the blueprint of your world. Yet here lies a common misstep. Many assume the universe responds to their spoken words, their passing wishes, or the goals they consciously chase. It does not. It perceives vibration, the energy beneath the surface. You might voice a desire for success, but if self-doubt festers within, the universe reflects that doubt. You might long for connection, but if resentment lingers, that's what shapes your reality. It's not the declarations you make or the dreams you entertain that dictate the outcome. It's the frequency you carry in your being, day after day. This realization marks a turning point. When you become aware of the signals you're sending, you gain the power to adjust them. Shift your vibration, and the universe shifts its reply. Most people stumble through life believing their circumstances are imposed upon them, a force separate from their influence. But once you see that reality is not something apart from you, that it emerges from your own energy, everything changes. You are already in dialogue with the universe, whether you intend to be or not. The critical question is this: does your message align with what you truly wish to receive? To alter what the universe reflects back, you must first alter what you project outward, and that begins with mastering your energy. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. This truth distinguishes those who seem to draw their desires effortlessly from those who labor in frustration, unable to break free of their patterns no matter how fiercely they strive. The mistake most make is in their approach to this exchange. They rely on words, repetitive affirmations, desperate requests, believing that persistence alone will bend reality to their will. But the universe does not hear language in the way we do, it senses energy. Everything in existence operates on a frequency. A radio captures a signal only when tuned to its wavelength. A musical note resonates at a pitch that defines its sound. You, too, are a field of energy, your every thought and emotion emitting a distinct pulse into the world. Like a magnet, you draw in what corresponds to that pulse. Two people can stand in the same moment. One finds opportunity, the other obstruction, not by luck, but by the frequency they inhabit. Recall a time when you felt truly at ease, aligned, alive, doors opened, ideas flowed, connections formed as if guided by an unseen hand. Now think about moments of fear or bitterness, when every step met resistance, every effort faltered, not as coincidence, but as a reflection of your state. Joy, trust, and love resonate at higher frequencies. They elevate your presence, expanding what you invite into your life. Fear, doubt, and anger vibrate lower, narrowing your field and summoning struggle. This is why some perpetually encounter setbacks while others find pathways where none seem to exist, not because the universe favors one over the other, but because it matches the energy each projects. Yet surface efforts fall short. You cannot recite positivity or fake confidence and expect the universe to comply if your inner vibration remains unchanged. You might say you seek abundance, but if lack defines your emotional core, that's what you'll transmit and receive. The universe responds to what you embody, not what you profess. What energy do you truly carry? Not the one you hope to display, not the one you wish to feel, but the one that resides within you now. Until that transforms, the reflection persists. When it does, the world around you will follow. Think of prayer, meditation, and presence not as separate practices, but as interwoven threads of a single conversation with the universe. Prayer is often misunderstood as a plea, a cry to an external power for intervention. But what if it's not about asking at all? What if it's about alignment, stepping into the reality you seek with absolute certainty? Most pray from a place of absence. Their words are loaded with need, reinforcing the very void they hope to escape. True prayer shifts this. It's a declaration, a stance of knowing that what you seek is already in motion, not a request, but an affirmation of what is. Meditation, then, is the listening half of this dialogue. If prayer is your voice, meditation is your silence, the space where the universe's response become audible. Most are too preoccupied to hear it, their minds cluttered with noise, their questions drowned by distraction. But when you still yourself, when you release the need to dictate every outcome, answers emerge, not always as words, but as clarity, as intuition, as a sudden shift that reorients your path. Presence binds these together, rooting you in the only moment where the universe speaks, now. The past is a memory, the future a projection, only the present holds the exchange. Yet most dwell elsewhere, lost in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's uncertainties, missing the subtle ways the universe communicates, a chance encounter, a recurring thought, an opportunity that arrives on its own. These are not accidents, they are replies. If you've ever felt your prayers go unanswered, your meditations yield nothing, the universe falls silent, consider this. It's not a lack of response. It may be you who is not fully open and ready to listen what replies you get in this conversation. You ask, but do not listen. You seek, but do not see. The response is there, constant and unwavering. The question is whether you are open and paying attention enough to receive it. Your mind is not a mere container for thoughts, it's a sculptor of reality. Every image you dwell on, every scenario you replay, Every future you envision is a directive, a template the universe observes and builds upon. Visualization is not idle fantasy, it's a deliberate act of creation within. Science confirms this. When you imagine an experience vividly, your brain engages as if it were happening, igniting the same pathways as lived events. Athletes mentally rehearse their victories, leaders see their triumphs before they unfold. But the power lies beyond the image, it's in the emotion that accompanies it. To picture a goal without feeling its truth is to send a faint signal. To embody it, to taste its certainty, to feel its presence, amplifies the vibration you project. Many stumble here, they visualize what they desire, yet their energy clings to doubt or unworthiness, canceling their own intent. The universe reflects what you live, not what you casually imagine. Embody it with all our purpose, clarity, emotion, repetition, and you will begin to shape what lies ahead. Words, too, carry weight, but their strength lies not in their mere sound, the fleeting vibrations that ripple through the air and fade, but in their profound capacity to reshape your subconscious, the silent, unseen force that steers the course of your life. This deep mind, a reservoir of beliefs and assumptions, began taking shape from your earliest days, sculpted by the voices and influences that surrounded you. Family whispered lessons of what's possible or forbidden, culture etched its norms into your perception, pivotal moments, triumphs, wounds, quiet revelations, crystallized into truths you didn't choose but absorbed nonetheless. If those messages spoke of limitation, of struggle as inevitable, of inadequacy as your inheritance, they hardened into a lens, a filter through which you interpret every experience, subtly guiding your decisions, coloring your emotions, and pulling into your reality circumstances that echo their tone. Over time, this subconscious programming becomes a script, running beneath your awareness, dictating not just how you see the world, but how the world responds to you. Affirmations hold the potential to rewrite this script, to overwrite those old, worn lines with something new. But their power is not automatic. They must take root to bear fruit. To speak them without belief is to cast seeds onto stone. They scatter and wither, met with resistance from a subconscious that clings fiercely to what it has always known. It's not enough to recite words mechanically, to let them roll off your tongue while your inner world remains unmoved. Their effectiveness hinges on resonance, a harmony between what you say and what you feel. The words must strike a chord, feel true in your bones, even if that truth is fragile at first. They need an anchor, a memory, however faint, of a time you felt worthy, capable, whole, a moment of conviction you can lean into and expand. Without this, affirmations are hollow, a surface gesture that fails to penetrate the deeper layers where real change begins. Yet this is where most stumble. They reach for affirmations in moments of desperation, wielding them as a frantic fix, a shield to fend off despair, a lifeline to pull them from the dark. They repeat phrases like, "I am enough" or "I am abundant," with clenched fists and racing hearts, hoping to drown out the fear, to force a shift through sheer will. But the subconscious doesn't bend to force, it listens to consistency, to quiet certainty. When used this way, affirmations become a mask, a temporary cover for the same old beliefs lurking beneath, beliefs that whisper, "not yet," or "not me," even as the words say, "otherwise." They're not meant to be escapes, quick patches for a fraying reality. They are stepping stones, deliberate, steady markers on the path to a new identity, laid down with intention and patience. Consider the words you already speak to yourself, the ones that slip out unnoticed in the quiet of your mind. The doubts that murmur, "you can't," the criticisms that sting with familiar sharpness, the limits you accept without question, these, too, are affirmations, just ones that work against you. They've been running on a loop, reinforcing the reality you long to leave behind, etching those grooves deeper with every repetition. To change this, you must redirect that inner voice with purpose, not as a fleeting wish, but as a committed act. Root your new words in a truth you can stand on, however small it starts, and let them build, layer by layer. Speak them not to escape what is, but to claim what's emerging, to align your subconscious with a frequency that calls forth something different. When this alignment takes hold, the shift begins, not just in your mind, but in the world you draw toward you. The subconscious, once a gatekeeper of old limits, becomes a partner in crafting what's next, realigning the energy you project and, with it, the reality that returns. Writing takes this further, bridging the gap between the ephemeral and the concrete, giving form to what otherwise slips away. Thoughts are transient, they swirl, shift, and dissolve like mist, leaving no trace. Conversations, even the most heartfelt, soften with time, their edges blurring as memory fades. But words on a page endure, they stand as a declaration, a solid imprint that moves intent from the abstract realm of the mind into the physical world. For most, the inner landscape is a restless place, a tangle of scattered impulses and half-formed desires, muddied by hesitation or doubt. They yearn for clarity, yet their signals to the universe remain fragmented, a cacophony of mixed messages that yield little in return. Writing cuts through this chaos. It demands focus, a deliberate act of sifting through the noise to distill what truly matters. It compels you to name what you seek, to pin it down with precision, to unearth the deeper why that drives it. This process is not passive, it's a reckoning with yourself, a moment where vague longing crystallizes into something you can hold and examine. This act of writing is not a plea, not a timid request cast into the void. It's a commitment, a bold alignment with the reality you're prepared to step into, a statement of readiness that carries weight beyond mere hope. It's infused with gratitude, not as an afterthought, but as a recognition that the universe is already in motion, conspiring in your favor. It's rooted in trust, not a blind leap, but a quiet certainty that what you set down is already finding its way to you. Some choose to keep these writings close, tucking them away as touchstones, tangible reminders of the path they've chosen, anchors to revisit when clarity wanes or resolve falters. Others release them, perhaps through fire or wind, surrendering attachment to the how and when, letting the act itself stand as enough. The ritual varies, but its essence does not. The method is secondary to the energy poured into it. What matters is the conviction that fuels the words, the intent that charges them with life, the belief that transforms ink into a beacon. Throughout history, written words have wielded extraordinary power, shaping the course of human existence with a force that transcends generations. Agreements scratched onto parchment forged empires, their terms binding nations and redirecting destinies. Laws, painstakingly inscribed, brought order to chaos, defining the boundaries of societies and the rights of those within them. Sacred texts, penned with reverence, guided entire faiths, offering solace and purpose to millions across centuries. These were not mere records, they were acts of creation, words that carried intent so potent they altered the fabric of reality itself. Your written message to the universe holds a similar potency, a lineage of power distilled into your own hand. It's a clear, resolute signal, not a whisper, but a proclamation, that pierces the veil between you and the unseen forces at work. When you write, you don't just express a thought, you set a process in motion, planting a seed that the universe, ever responsive, cannot ignore. What would you write if you knew, beyond doubt, that it was heard? The truth is, it is. Every stroke of the pen, every curve of the letter carries your energy into the world. When you commit your intent to paper with unwavering conviction, you do more than document a wish. You ignite something tangible, a spark that ripples outward. It's not about the paper itself, nor the words alone, but the alignment they represent, a moment where your inner truth meets the outer expanse, where your will intersects with the infinite. This is no idle exercise, it's a pact, a dialogue made manifest. And as that signal travels, carried by your clarity, your trust, your resolve, it begins to weave its way back to you, not as a gift bestowed, but as a reality you've already begun to claim. Writing is not just a tool, it's a threshold, a crossing into the space where intention becomes inevitability, where the universe meets you halfway, not because you asked, but because you declared. Most people drift through life in a state of quiet passivity, waiting for something external to signal their next move, hoping for signs to light the way, relying on the fickle hand of fortune, assuming that what's destined for them will somehow find its way to their door. They move through their days unaware of a profound truth. They are already crafting their reality, shaping it with every moment, though not with deliberate intent. Every thought that flickers through their mind, every emotion that rises and falls within them, every belief they hold, spoken or buried deep, acts as a brushstroke on the vast canvas of their existence. These are not idle traces. They are active forces, painting the scenes they live out, coloring the world they inhabit. Yet for so many, this process remains unconscious, a creation they stumble into rather than choose. Their minds oscillate between fleeting bursts of inspiration and the weight of old fears, their hearts caught in a tug-of-war between longing and resignation. They don't see that they're already artists of their lives, just ones who wield their tools without precision or awareness. This lack of clarity sends mixed signals into the universe, hope tangled with threads of anxiety, intent weakened by the shadow of doubt, and the universe, ever exact in its response, reflects back that very discord. It doesn't judge or withhold, it simply mirrors what it receives, delivering a reality that matches the uneven frequency they project. A burst of optimism might spark a fleeting opportunity, only for uncertainty to pull it out of reach. A bold desire might take root, only to wither under the weight of second-guessing. The universe is precise, a perfect echo of the energy you offer it, and when that energy wavers, so does what returns. To truly engage with it is to step out of this drift and into purpose, to take the reins of your own creation. It means aligning your energy with what you seek, not as a vague wish, but as a focused force, clearing away the static of indecision and contradiction that distorts your message. The universe doesn't respond to half-hearted gestures, it resonates with certainty, amplifying what you embody with conviction. Yet this is where most falter, caught in a cycle they don't even recognize. They waver, they question, they chase proof that their efforts are working, each act of hesitation a crack in the signal they send. When you doubt your path, when you look for external validation to confirm what you've set in motion, you invite that same uncertainty back into your experience. Many sabotage themselves without realizing it. They set intentions with clarity one moment, dreams of a new chapter, a shift in their story, then slip back into old patterns the next. Impatience creeps in, whispering that it's taking too long. Lack reasserts itself, insisting they don't yet have what they seek. In their very pursuit, they affirm absence rather than presence, chasing what they want as if it's always just beyond their grasp. The universe, unwavering in its fidelity, delivers more of that chase, more waiting, more distance, because that's the energy they've chosen to live in. Conscious creation turns this dynamic on its head. It's not about reaching for a distant prize or hoping for a future shift, it's about embodying the reality you desire right now, stepping into it as a present truth rather than a far-off possibility. You don't wait for permission or proof, you become the evidence, living as though the change is already unfolding. This isn't blind optimism or forced pretense, it's a deliberate alignment of your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the state you intend to claim. When obstacles emerge in this process, they aren't walls blocking your way, they're invitations, signposts pointing to where your frequency still needs refinement. A challenge isn't a denial from the universe, it's a mirror, reflecting back the remnants of old doubts or misalignments you've yet to release. Most give up here, interpreting resistance as failure, retreating to familiar ground. But if you hold steady, if you refine your energy and stand firm in your truth, the shift comes. It's not a reward handed down from on high, it's a natural consequence, a resonance with what you've become. This is the pivot, to stop drifting and start directing, to move from unconscious reaction to intentional creation. The universe doesn't bend to your pleas or promises. It meets you where you stand, matching the vibration you sustain. When you live as the one who already embodies what you seek, when your certainty drowns out the noise of doubt, the world around you adjusts, not as a gift bestowed, but as an echo of who you are. Every stroke you've painted, every signal you've sent, has always shaped your path. The difference now is awareness, the choice to wield that power with purpose. Hold that line, and the canvas transforms, not because you waited, but because you claimed it. The universe speaks ceaselessly, its voice an unbroken thread woven through the fabric of your days, yet most remain deaf to its presence, caught in their own noise. They miss the messages entirely. They bow their heads in prayer, pleading for guidance, or cast their questions into the silence, only to turn back to the clamor of their routines moments later, their minds buzzing with distraction, their hearts restless with unmet wants. They expect the answers to arrive like bold proclamations, thunderclaps of certainty, unmistakable signs that demand no interpretation, while the subtle whispers of the universe slip past unnoticed. Synchronicities unfold before them, a name repeated across unrelated moments, a chance encounter that shifts their course, a pattern that emerges unbidden from the chaos. Gut instincts stir, quiet but insistent, urging a direction they can't quite explain. Recurring themes surface in their lives, echoes of lessons or invitations disguised as repetition. These are not random quirks, not meaningless flukes of chance. They are the universe's replies, its way of responding to the energy you've sent forth, crafted with a precision most fail to recognize. This dialogue does not bend to human impatience. It moves on its own timeline, a rhythm unbound by your urgency or demands. The universe delivers when you're ready to receive, not when you stamp your foot and insist on immediacy. A delay in its response is not a rejection, not a refusal to engage. It's a period of preparation, a space where you're being shaped to meet what's coming. Silence, too, carries meaning. It's not an empty void signaling abandonment, but a call to listen more deeply, to tune your awareness beyond the surface chatter of your expectations. Most stumble here, their attention too shallow to catch the undercurrent. They ask for a sign, then overlook the book that falls open to a relevant page, the stranger's offhand remark that answers an unvoiced question, the sudden clarity that blooms in a quiet moment. These are not the forms they anticipated, so they dismiss them as irrelevant, blind to the guidance threading through their days. This misstep stems from a rigid need to control the exchange, to dictate not just what the universe says, but how it should say it. They envision answers arriving in specific shapes, a clear yes or no, a dramatic event, a neatly packaged resolution that fits their preconceived mold. When the response comes differently, through a fleeting intuition they don't trust, a conversation that nudges them sideways, an insight they shrug off as coincidence, they turn away, waiting for something louder, something more obvious, something that matches the script they've written in their minds. But the universe doesn't conform to such limits. Its language is fluid, layered, often requiring you to meet it halfway. To hear it, you must surrender that need to orchestrate its delivery, to let go of the when, the how, the precise contours you've demanded. Trust its unfolding instead, and the responses begin to sharpen, their meaning coalescing like stars emerging in a clearing sky. Often, it's only in hindsight that the pieces align. When you look back and see how the nudge you ignored led to a breakthrough, how the delay you resented built your strength, how the silence you cursed held a deeper truth. This exchange between you and the universe is perpetual, an ongoing current that never ceases. Every moment hums with its voice, every breath carries its echo. But your perception of it hinges on your attention, on your willingness to pause and attune yourself to what's already there. Most rush past, their senses dulled by haste or expectation, hearing only fragments of the conversation, if they hear it at all. The answers don't hide, they wait in plain sight, woven into the texture of your life, revealed not by force but by presence. When you release the grip of your own narrative and open yourself to the rhythm of this dialogue, the subtle becomes profound, the overlooked becomes undeniable. The universe has never stopped speaking. It's you who must learn to listen, to stand still long enough to catch its cadence, to trust that its timing and form, however unexpected, are exactly what you need. This is not about pleading, not about lowering yourself to beg for scraps from a distant, indifferent force. It's about claiming your rightful place, stepping into the authority that has always been yours. You are not a solitary figure standing apart from the universe, disconnected and at its mercy. You are intricately woven into its fabric, a thread in its vast tapestry, a co-creator of the path you walk. This is not a passive role, nor a hopeful wish cast into the unknown. It's an active partnership, a recognition that the energy flowing through you is the same energy that pulses through all existence. Waiting for external validation, for some sign, some permission, some nod from the world to affirm your worth, keeps you locked in stagnation, tethered to a cycle of doubt and delay. But when you step forward, when you move with purpose and conviction, you ignite the response. The universe doesn't initiate this dance. It waits for your lead, ready to meet you in the rhythm you set. To live this truth is to embody the reality you seek, not as a distant dream you chase, but as a present state you inhabit now. It's about carrying its essence in your being, its certainty in your bones, as if what you desire is already yours, not a prize to be won, but an identity to be claimed. You don't reach outward to grasp it, you align inward to become it, letting your thoughts, your actions, your very presence radiate the frequency of what's already true. This isn't about acquiring something external, wealth, love, or clarity dropped into your lap like a gift from above. It's about becoming the version of yourself who naturally draws those things near, who resonates with them as an extension of who you are. The universe doesn't deliver to a beggar, it reflects back to a creator. When you live as the one who already has what you seek, when you walk, speak, and feel from that place, the world around you realigns, not as a favor granted, but as a mirror to the energy you've chosen to embody. Think back to those moments when life seemed to flow seamlessly, when the pieces fell into place with an ease that felt almost orchestrated, opportunities aligning just as you needed them, timing so perfect it defied explanation, connections forming as if drawn by an unseen thread. These were not accidents, not strokes of luck bestowed upon you by a capricious fate. They were moments of harmony, instances when your energy, whether you knew it or not, vibrated in sync with what you sought, and the universe responded in kind. What felt effortless then was a glimpse of this truth. You were co-creating, your inner state calling forth an outer reality that matched it. The difference now is intention. Make it deliberate, turn that fleeting alignment into a constant way of being, a steady hum that runs through your days. When you do, the dialogue with the universe deepens. It becomes less a series of scattered exchanges and more a continuous, living conversation, one you steer with every choice you make. In this shift, you're no longer hoping for an answer, waiting for the universe to speak first or confirm your moves. You're shaping the answer yourself. Every thought you hold, every emotion you sustain, every belief you nurture sends a vibration into the vastness, and that vibration returns, rippling back as the circumstances you encounter, the people you meet, the paths that open or close. This is not a passive wish or a tentative request, it's a deliberate act of creation, a recognition that the energy you project is the mold for what comes next. Embrace that power, fully, without reservation, and the world adjusts around you. It's not a response to a question you've asked, not a reward for a plea you've made, it's a reflection of who you've become. The universe doesn't move because you petitioned it, it shifts because you are, because your presence, your certainty, your alignment demand it. This is your place, not as a supplicant at the edges of existence, but as a force within it, shaping it as it shapes you. To claim it is to shed the hesitation, the waiting, the need for proof, and to stand in the truth of your own influence. Those moments of flow you've known were not anomalies. They were previews of what's possible when you live this way consistently. Every signal you send echoes back, every frequency you hold finds its match. Step into that authority, let it define you, and the universe meets you there, not because you asked it to, but because you become the one it can't help but reflect. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more reflections about the mind, universe, and consciousness.